My name is Claire Whitfield. I'm 29 years old, and the night my father finally realized paper could destroy him began with laughter. Not mine, but his. It happened in a ballroom filled with people who had spent years applauding my younger sister while barely noticing I existed. My father raised his glass, looked straight at me with that familiar smirk, and said loudly, "You'll never shine the way your sister does." The room erupted into polite laughter, the kind people give when they want to stay in favor with power. My sister stood glowing under the lights like she belonged there. I stood near the back in heels that felt like knives after a 14-hour shift at the docks, holding a drink I never touched. Something inside me went very still, and before I even realized it, I heard my own voice say, "Then maybe she should start paying the bills. I'm done sending money." He laughed again, louder this time, as if I had told a joke. "What money?" he said confidently. "We've never received a cent from you." That was the moment everything changed. The laughter around me stopped feeling humiliating and started feeling temporary, like a storm that hadn't yet realized it was about to break. He expected me to argue. He expected tears. He expected the same silence I had given him my entire life. Instead, I said nothing. I simply looked at him, then at my sister, and pictured the locked folder on my laptop filled with years of proof. Transfers, receipts, invoices, and emails documenting every emergency I had quietly solved for them. When I finally brought that proof to him days later, he wasn't laughing anymore. He was begging. I grew up in Savannah, in a household where reputation mattered more than truth. My father, Robert Whitfield, ran a marine supply company that older captains trusted out of loyalty built decades earlier. My mother, Helen, organized charity luncheons and community events, always presenting herself as the picture of grace. My sister Lillian was their pride, beautiful, confident, and effortlessly charming. She appeared on morning shows, attended ribbon cuttings, and posed for photographs like the world was built for her. And me? I was the reliable one, the quiet one. The daughter who worked long shifts auditing shipping records and fixing errors nobody else noticed. I understood numbers, deadlines, and consequences, things my family preferred not to think about. What no one outside our house knew was that my father's company should have collapsed years earlier. A customs fine turned into a cash shortage, a missed insurance payment became another emergency. Payroll gaps appeared. Every time he called me, it sounded temporary. Just until next week, he'd say. But next week became next month, then next quarter, then another year. I kept helping because I believed families protected each other. Each time I wired money, I saved a copy of the transaction. At first, it was habit. Later, it became insurance, proof I never expected to use but couldn't stop collecting. By the night of that gala, I had quietly transferred more than $180,000 to keep my family's image intact. That evening was supposed to celebrate my sister's charity work. She stood on stage in silk, delivering a speech about discipline and responsibility, while I stood near the back refreshing my banking app. Payroll was due at midnight, and once again, I had covered it. Then my father turned me into entertainment. He wrapped his arm around my sister and gestured toward me. "One daughter knows how to represent this family," he joked. "The other still thinks hard work makes her interesting." The room laughed. And then he delivered the line that changed everything, the one about me never matching my sister. That's when I answered him. "Then let her pay the bills," I said, "because I'm done." I walked out before anyone could stop me. The humid night air felt heavy, pressing against my lungs as I reached my car. My hands shook so badly I had to sit still for a full minute before driving home. I didn't cry. I was too angry to cry. When I got home, I opened my laptop and stared at the folder I had spent years building. Inside were subfolders organized by month: payroll coverage, tax payments, legal fees, emergency wires. Every sacrifice recorded, every lie quietly corrected. That night, for the first time, I added everything together. The total sat on my screen like a verdict: $184,612. I called Ethan Carter, an old colleague who understood numbers better than emotions. He listened without interrupting. Then he said one sentence that changed my life: "Print everything and stop saving them tonight." So I did. I removed my backup payment authorizations. I canceled the automatic transfers covering their overdue bills. I didn't steal. I didn't sabotage. I simply stopped protecting them. And for the first time in years, I slept without checking if my family would survive the week. The next morning, my phone filled with missed calls. My mother left messages asking me to be reasonable. My sister texted about appearances and timing. My father stayed silent, the kind of silence meant to punish. Sunday dinner became the battlefield. They sat around the polished table like always, pretending nothing had changed. My father demanded an apology. My mother spoke about family unity. My sister played the wounded victim. So I slid a single sheet of paper across the table, the summary page: dates, amounts, destinations. Their expressions changed instantly. Denial cracked into fear. I stood before dessert arrived. "The next bill," I said calmly, "is yours." Then I walked out. The real collapse came later, not with shouting, but with numbers. Missed payroll, overdue taxes, suppliers demanding payment. The illusion they had protected for years began to crumble once my silence disappeared. Months passed. The company dissolved. Assets were sold. The reputation they had worshipped faded into quiet gossip. And me? I moved into a small apartment overlooking the river and started a consulting firm, helping other businesses fix the kind of problems I once solved for free. Ethan became my partner. For the first time, my skills were valued, not expected. I kept one page from that binder locked in my desk drawer, not as revenge, as a reminder, because sometimes the loudest victory doesn't come from shouting or fighting. Sometimes it comes from evidence, neat, organized, undeniable. And sometimes the moment people finally respect you is the moment you stop saving them.